A sexual abuse survivor leading a nationwide push to keep others from becoming victims will testify today in Lansing. Erin Merryn will go before the Senate Health Policy Committee to discuss legislation known as Erin's Law. She joins us live in studio this morning along with State Senator John Prose, who is sponsoring the bill here in Michigan. Thanks for coming out this morning. Really appreciate that.
Of course.
Let's start with your story, Erin. Share your story with us.
From the ages of 6 to 8.5, I was sexually abused as a young child. You know, I was never told, educated on safe touch, unsafe touch, safe secrets, unsafe secrets. So I woke up as a little 6-year-old off on my little overnight with my best friend and wake up to her uncle coming into the room sexually abusing me. And the sexual abuse continued until I was 8.5 years old, which eventually turned into being raped. I repressed it. I started having behavior problems due to it. We moved. And then from 11 to 13, a family member sexually abused me. And I lived in that silence because I was getting one and one message only. And that was, this is our little secret. No one will believe you. I'll come hurt you. I wasn't getting the other message in schools. Speak up, tell. What's a safe secret? What's an unsafe secret? Safe touch, unsafe touch. This is things we fail to address with kids. I knew the 8 ways to say no to drugs. I knew how to get out of a burning building, tornado drills, fire drills, all of those drills, how to escape a school bus.
Right.
But I didn't know how to tell on my perpetrator, so I lived in that horror and silence.
And that is where this push for Erin's Law begins. So tell me that, because I mean, obviously we, sad thing is that we do have, victims out there, but you have taken it upon yourself to go out there and try to make change.
I did. I decided to do something positive with this, not make this something negative, and do something positive with, we need to educate and empower kids. So I went to my state lawmakers in Illinois and said, we need to require age-appropriate curriculum in the schools, starting as early as preschool, throughout schools, teaching kids on how to speak up. Age-appropriate curriculum. And I got it passed in Illinois. Not a single no vote. Everyone voted yes for it, and Governor Quinn signed it in February of 2011. And since then, I decided, wait a second, this is going on across the world.
Sure.
We know the statistics out. There's 42 million survivors in America alone right now. So I decided to go state by state and will not give up until I get every state to pass this. I have 4 states that have passed it now: Illinois, Missouri, Indiana, and Maine. And next, here we are.
Here we are in
this
Michigan.
amazing man who's helping me get it passed in Michigan.
And Senator Prose, how did you come along her story? How did you meet Erin?
Well, part of the relationship here is that Erin's mother grew up right here in Michigan's Great Southwest, and Paw Paw in particular. And so that relationship had already existed with Van Buren Youth Camp, where Erin went as a child and knows Van Buren well. So on our way over from Southwest Michigan today to Kalamazoo, past the exit that she'd take to go to Van Buren Youth Camp. It was from that perspective that we began to look into whether or not it was a hole in the law, whether or not there was an opportunity for us to address this in Michigan. And in fact, there is. Just as Erin had indicated, there just isn't that sort of a discussion happening in our health policy arena, in our school districts, and in particular in our health classes. So health and physical education being such an important part of it, this isn't a proper place for us to talk about what is a challenging subject, but one that must be addressed.
Okay, we want to spend a whole lot more time on this, but right now let's take a quick break and we'll continue our discussion on Erin's Law on the other side of the break. Stay right there. Welcome back. We're speaking live this morning with Erin Merryn, who is a sexual abuse survivor pushing for a new law to help keep others from becoming victims. Also, State Senator John Prose, picking up where we left off on our discussion on Erin's Law. So what happens today?
The Senate Health Policy Committee today will take up the bills, bipartisan bills, with Judy Emmons of Sheridan, a Republican, Rebecca Warren, my Senate colleague also from Ann Arbor, a Democrat, and myself. The 3 of us have teamed together to put together 3 bills that will be up into health policy. And we expect, with a very busy day in Lansing, we expect that we'll be able to pass these on the Senate floor today also.
And the goal is to get these things, these lessons to be taught in schools.
That's exactly right. It does 3 specific things. The first is it sets up a panel. The bills themselves set up a panel for experts to come together in a scientifically based way. All of these, by the way, have been with Erin's consultation all the way through in drafting the bills themselves. Sets up a panel, 180 days to come back then with specific recommendations and a menu of items that our school districts can then implement in K through 5 education, kindergarten through 5th grade education, on just exactly how kids should be made aware of telling a responsible adult, making sure they know that this isn't normal touching,
Sure.
it's not it's inappropriate, etc. So the first is the panel, the second is the school districts themselves
Right.
implementing, and the third is an opt-out for parents, which is an interesting scenario that, that Erin suggested that we have that opt-out available.
And Erin, you were telling me in the break that of the 4 states that have already passed this bill, they have already enacted task force to figure out what's the best way to teach kids these lessons. What have these task force learned so far about the right way and the good ways, the ways that work to teach kids?
Well, what we've realized is not to put school districts in a corner and saying this is the one and only curriculum you will teach your kids. We're giving them options. There's excellent research-based curriculum out there that will come into the schools, or you can train your staff, your teachers, your school administrators, because we're realizing that the administrators need to be educated, the teachers need to be educated, the parents need to be educated, not just the kids. And deciding with these different curriculums, which is the best for each school district's, setup. Sure. And research shows that if you have them come in once a year, it's far more effective coming in 3 or 4 times a year than just a one-time session of speaking and educating kids on this. But we're showing that role plays, different role plays really play an impact on kids of retaining that information. And it's really interesting what the role plays do with kids and how they respond to it.
All right, Erin Merryn, State Senator John Prost, thanks for your time today. Really appreciate that. Thank you for coming and sharing your story. Really appreciate that as well.
Thank you, I appreciate it.